I'm Trey Burton, and this is a little bit of my testimony. I accepted Christ at a really young age. I was in kindergarten. I went to a Christian school. I remember my teacher, kind of explaining about, who Jesus was, what a Christian is. And I remember at the end of her lesson, she told the people who wanted to accept Christ into their hearts to raise their hand, and she was going to take us outside and just pray with us. And looking back at it, I just remember it more of like I wanted to go to heaven instead of hell type of deal. I didn't really understand too much about Christianity, didn't really understand too much about Jesus, because who really could when you're in kindergarten. But I just remember from that day on, I wanted to live for Christ. And so fast forward till I'm in high school now, and I was getting mentored one day a week for a good 2 years by the local FCA leader. He would just sow into me in the morning before school started, just a little bit more about what a Christian was and who Christ was. And so at the same time that he was sowing into me about the Lord, on the field, I was getting more well-known, playing better, getting recruited by big schools in the state of Florida. And so it's kind of like this contrast of the Lord, but then on the other side, the world. And so I remember I just wanted to live for Christ. I've always had a heart for Christ. But I started, doing worldly things. I didn't have a father growing up, and so I was really big into like my coping method for not having a father was women. And I was always, trying to have a girlfriend, be around girls. Wanted to be like the life of the party type of guy. And so having that in high school, being more well known because I'm playing better and I'm getting highly recruited. Going into college, the University of Florida, which is the biggest school one of the biggest schools in the state of Florida, one of the most well-known schools in the state. Obviously, huge deal. I'm a really small town kid, and so going in there as a quarterback, but I'm supposed to be the guy to play or replace Tim Tebow. And so obviously we all know who Tebow is, and so there was a lot of pressure on me from a spiritual standpoint, and I didn't feel like I was truly in my faith as much as I should have been. Kind of like half foot in, half foot out. Wanted to be a Christian, but then also wanted to do the things of the world. And so, like I said, coping with going to women for my problems or whatever stress, really any type of emotion, good, bad, or ugly, that quickly turned into porn. And those are some of the things that I really struggled with throughout my whole life. And so I get to college. I meet this girl, and we had a relationship. We were on and off for about 3 years. And I remember my junior year in college, I was just tired of watching porn. I was tired of messing with girls on the side. And I didn't want to live that life anymore. And I remember just praying to God, like, God, I'm sorry. I repent. I want your grace, your mercy. Please forgive me. I don't want to do this anymore. I want a different life. And so from then on, I just basically prayed, like, I want a wife. Like, I want to get married. I'm done with all this. And so literally the 2 or 3 other girls that I was talking to at the time literally all left the city, and they were gone. They left Gainesville, went out of the state, and the only one that was there that was still I still had a great relationship with was my girlfriend at the time. And so her and I got more serious. We started praying. We started going to church a lot more. Started reading the Word together, going to Bible studies. And I just remember one day I walk into her apartment, and her friends are sitting at the table, and they kind of like give me like a quick glance, and they look like back down like they're really serious, and they didn't want to say hey to me or anything like that. And so that's weird. So I walk and I go into her room, and she's sitting there on her bed bawling, crying. And I'm like, oh man, what happened? I promised I've been good. I haven't been doing anything and behind your back or anything like that. And she just hands me a pregnancy test, and she says I'm pregnant. And I was like, oh man, wow. And so we were kind of both taken back by that, kind of shocked at that, because we had been trying to live, a godly life and a life, according to the Word. And it was just it was a tough time for her and I. I remember me personally, not really knowing what to do or what to expect, because I'm on one side, I'm this, Christian man on the Florida Gators football team, but on the other side, my girlfriend's pregnant, and so I was extremely embarrassed. I didn't really know where to go from there, but I just remember, her telling me that, and I was trying to comfort her and soothe her, and we just got on our knees and we prayed, and we said, man, we know, God, we know we messed up, we know, we didn't do this the right way. But just meet us where we are. And so from then on, God, has been showed us so much grace and so much mercy. And we're so undeserving of what we've been given. But fast forward to now, I'm continuing playing football. This is my 4th year in the NFL. I'm married to my girlfriend, and we have 3 kids now: a 4-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a 3-month-old. Girl, boy, girl, and we couldn't be happier.